So back to our channel. Today we are in blood physiology jaundice part. So first we need to see some short notes on jaundice. So first we need to start with the tests which are used to predict the jaundice. So we have the serum unconjugated bilirubin. It is indirected Van den Berg test. So we will see what is conjugated and conjugated bilirubin in our next part, right? So conjugated bilirubin is in direct to find out the serum conjugated bilirubin. We have direct Van der Berg test. So for conjugated, direct test. For unconjugated, indirect test. And we also do urine urobilinogen, bilinogen, and liver functional test. And also for serum, we do alanine transaminase, aspartate transaminase, alkaline phosphatase, gamma glutamyl transpeptidase, coagulation test, prothrombin time. So all these are the tests which are done for the jaundice, and we will see the this flow chart first so that we can understand the topic very clearly. So you can here see the fate of hemoglobin after extravascular or intravascular hemolysis. So first we need to understand what is extravascular means. You can understand by the name. It is this hemolysis means breakdown of red cell occurring out of the vascular system, out of blood vessels, or intravascular hemolysis means taking the vascular system. And the points at which the jaundice can occur, you can see here. And UDP is uridine 5 diphosphoglucorane transferase. So you can see this full form is that one, that is uridine 5 diphosphoglucoronide transferase. Now let us see this pathway first. We'll try to understand. So first, we will see here. So in the spleen, it undergoes extravascular hemolysis because spleen is not a blood vessel, it is outside the blood vessel. So extravascular hemolysis. So in spleen, a red blood cells gets destroyed, and by destruction of red blood cells, what is inside the red blood cell? Hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is divided into free hemoglobin is divided into heme part, and heme part by the process by the protein, by the help of heme oxygenase, it is converted into biliveridin, and this biliveridin is converted into bilirubin. So this is how the bilirubin is formed from our blood. So our blood, in the blood, we have hemoglobin is converted into heme by the help of this heme oxygenase converted into biliverdin, and biliverdin into bilirubin. So this bilirubin is unconjugated bilirubin. Unconjugated, what is unconjugated? Unconjugated bilirubin is always lipid soluble and water insoluble. Lipid soluble means it can pass through the cell membrane. Water insoluble means it can't go into kidney and kidney can't excrete. Now you need to understand why actually this hemoglobin is broken down into bile, because bile can be excreted out from the liver. Bile is a waste product from the liver, so we can excrete out bile from liver into feces and also in the urine. So this bile, if it is in unconjugated form, you can understand it is water insoluble. If it is water insoluble, think that it can't get excreted out into urine. So this unconjugated bilirubin should get converted into conjugated bilirubin should to get the excretion. So you can say, so remember that by the spleen pathway, by the extravascular hemolysis, here we got the unconjugated bilirubin, and this unconjugated bilirubin is now binding with our albumin. Albumin is the largest plasma protein, important plasma protein. So this albumin, this is all in blood, right? So this unconjugated bilirubin now binds to albumin in the plasma, and by this binding, albumin is like a vehicle. Now it takes this unconjugated bilirubin to the liver. So liver is the main site where the bile is produced. So now what happens? Liver, by means of this UDP glucuronyl transferase, it converts into bilirubin monoglucuronide, and this bilirubin monoglucuronide can either form the bilirubin diglucuronide, or else it can form the regurgitation to blood if blocked. So regurgitation to blood, why? If it is blocked, for example, if the pathway is blocked here, then regurgitation means again it is going backward. So it can again go backward. And remember that this, if it is blocked in the blood, there will be higher amount of unconjugated bilirubin, because here still it is not converted into conjugated pathway. So it will be like unconjugated only, increase in unconjugated bilirubin. So if this undergoes regurgitation into blood if blocked, and now this bilirubin monoglucuronide is converted into bilirubin diglycorinide and later undergoes the process of excretion by means of bile. So this is how the excretion takes place. So remember that in the liver, our unconjugated bilirubin is converted into the conjugated bilirubin. When it is converted into conjugated bilirubin, you can understand now it can easily undergo the process of excretion, otherwise it can't. So remember, unconjugated bilirubin converted into conjugated in the liver. So we'll see the next process here. You can see blood. If just now we have seen one more case, extravascular hemolysis. Now if you think hemolysis, that is breakdown of red blood cells, takes place in the blood itself, then it is called intravascular hemolysis. Again same, free hemoglobin is formed, but now this hemoglobin either may convert into methemoglobin or into haptoglobin, convert into haptoglobin or methemoglobin, and this methemoglobin may in turn can convert into globin and heme. Now this heme is converting into hemopexin, heme, albumin, heme, and again by means of here also you see again albumin is there, again it enters in the liver. So in the liver the same process continues and it converts into conjugated. So what you have understood, that the unconjugated bilirubin is always present outside the liver. So whenever the unconjugated bilirubin enters the liver, it just converted into conjugated. So then only this conjugated bilirubin can be excreted. So this is the main process in the this is mainly how the bile is excreted, how the bile is formed. Now let us see the jaundice. Start with the important terms. So you can see the bilirubin. So bilirubin is an yellow breakdown product of heme from hemoglobin. Yellow breakdown product. So the yellow color of bile is mainly due to this bilirubin. So bilirubin is the yellow breakdown product of heme from hemoglobin, and it is mainly responsible for the yellow color of urine and also yellow discoloration in jaundice. So this is the bilirubin which gives a yellow color. And next comes a hemolytic jaundice. Hemolytic means because of breakdown of RBC. Just now we have seen all the flowchart. So on an excess of unconjugated bilirubin in blood due to excessive hemolysis. So here what is happening? This unconjugated bilirubin is now not able to go into the liver. So it remains unconjugated and gets accumulated in the blood, then it is called as hemolytic. Hemolytic means here still the liver is functional, but only the problem is lot of hemolysis taking on, so that there is no time for our liver to just excrete it out. So there is lot of increase in bilirubin in our blood. Mainly what bilirubin? Mainly unconjugated bilirubin. So remember that unconjugated bilirubin is always lipid soluble and water insoluble. You can understand, if it is lipid soluble means it's nothing but water insoluble. So now let us see obstructive jaundice. In the name only you can understand something is obstructing it. Means increase in conjugated bilirubin. Conjugated form means because already it's entering the liver, right? Increase in conjugated bilirubin in blood mainly due to obstruction of biliary flow. So if the biliary flow is obstructed by any means, by biliary duct obstruction or any means, then conjugated bilirubin is now very much high in our blood. That is obstructive jaundice, because now it has entered the liver, it is conjugated form. Now let us see the urobilinogen. So what is this urobilinogen? It is a colorless product of reduction of bilirubin mainly by bacteria in the intestine. So it can be reabsorbed from the intestine into the circulation for later excretion by kidney. So what is that? Urobilinogen is mainly a product of it's mainly a product of reduction of bilirubin. So if we convert the bilirubin, we get the urobilinogen mainly by bacteria in the intestine, so that from the intestine it is reabsorbed into the circulation and from circulation into kidney. So this is how even this is getting excreted finally by kidney. It is constituting an enterohepatic urobilinear cycle. Yes, of course, because enterohepatic, because it is involved in intestine, hepatic concerned with liver, and urobilinogen cycle because here urine is formed and bilinogen, bile is involved. So this is next. Let us see Vandenberg reaction. So this is mainly the test to measure the concentration of conjugated bilirubin in the blood. So remember, for conjugated bilirubin the test is Vandenberg reaction. And jaundice. Jaundice is a yellow tint to the body tissue, mainly yellow skin, deep tissues, everything become yellow. Mainly the usual cause is increase in bilirubin. So what bilirubin? Increase in extracellular fluid, because you know blood is an extracellular fluid. So increase in bilirubin in extracellular fluid, mainly either it may be the conjugated or unconjugated bilirubin, that we can't say. So we'll see. in different diseases it will be different. So the normal concentration of bilirubin in plasma is almost unconjugated, yeah, because after reaching liver only it will become conjugated. So normally it will be of course unconjugated, that is 0.5 milligram per dl. And abnormal conditions rise to about 40 milligrams per dl and can become conjugated type, yeah, and can also become conjugated type. So skin appear jaundice, that is yellow color, when the concentration is increased up to 3 times of normal, that is 1.5 milligram per dl. And the most common cause of this jaundice is increase in destruction of RBC with increase in release of bilirubin in the blood and obstruction of bile ducts or damage of liver cells. So even usual amount of bile can't be excreted by our GIT. So two types of jaundice are there, mainly hemolytic jaundice and obstructive jaundice. So let us see them. So the hemolytic jaundice is mainly caused by the hemolysis of RBC. So here the liver is a normal, but RBC is hemolyzed very rapidly that the liver cells can't excrete the bilirubin as quickly as this hemolytic products are formed. So the plasma concentration of the bilirubin is very high, above the normal levels, and the urobilinogen formation in the intestine is also very much increased. So remember that even in hemolytic jaundice, urobilinogen is also lot of increase. So as urobilinogen is increased, this unconjugated bilirubin is increased. There is lot of bile in this in this hemolytic jaundice, and much is absorbed into the blood and later excreted in the urine. Some of the part may be excreted, but much of it later it will be excreted, because here still the liver is functional, as even though this is very high in the starting, later it may filter out, but not that much, because already there is lot of bilirubin in the blood. Some later may get excreted by urine. So now let us see the obstructive jaundice. So this obstructive jaundice is mainly caused by the obstruction of bile ducts or any other liver disease like hepatitis, whether there is damaged hepatic cells. When there is damaged hepatic cells, now we can very much easily understand that in obstructive jaundice there are a lot of cases to increase the conjugated bilirubin. So the rate of bilirubin formation is normal, but it can't pass from the blood into intestine. And this obstruction of bile ducts occurs mainly by gallstone or cancer, which blocks the common bile duct. And unconjugated to conjugated form, conjugated is normal and it return to blood by rupture of congested bile canaliculi and empty of bile into lymph leaving the liver. So the bilirubin in the plasma conjugated type is higher rather than the unconjugated type in the case of obstructive jaundice. So we'll see the diagnostic differences mainly between the obstructive jaundice and the hemolytic jaundice, so that we can very much clearly understand this topic. So the diagnostic differences are like in hemolytic jaundice, all the bilirubin is in unconjugated form. Yes, we know, because it's just in the plasma, still not enter the liver. But in obstructive jaundice, it is in the conjugated form. And the test we do is Vandenberg test. It is used to differentiate when the total obstruction of the bile flow uh, and there is no bilirubin to reach the intestine to be converted into urobilinogen, mainly by bacteria. So no urobilinogen is reabsorbed into the blood and not excreted by kidneys, urine. And the total obstructive jaundice test for this for urobilinogen is negative. So this is an important key feature in the case of obstructive jaundice. The urobilinogen is completely negative and the stools are in clay color due to lack of stercobilin and also other bile pigments. So now as the bile is completely in our blood, it is not able to excrete out. So a stool may become clay color, and also the test for urobilinogen will be negative here, because urobilinogen we need it for conversion of this unconjugated into conjugated type. So here already there is lot of conjugated bilirubin in the case of obstructive case. So in this case what happens is due to obstruction the bile is now only in the liver and it is not able to move to even intestine. If it is not moving into intestine, then how urobilinogen will act on it? So there is no urobilinogen in this. So the very much important key point in obstructive jaundice is urobilinogen negative. This is a key feature differentiating our obstructive and hemolytic jaundice. And also clay color features. Of course, it may be associated with others. So the key point is urobilinogen negative in the case of obstructive jaundice. And now let us see the kidneys. So kidneys excrete the small quantities of increased soluble conjugated bilirubin but not albumin associated unconjugated bilirubin. So remember that kidneys only can excrete the conjugated one because they are water soluble, but albumin bind unconjugated one they can't because they are water insoluble and lipid soluble, right? So they can't excrete the unconjugated part of bilirubin. So in severe obstruction, the conjugated bilirubin appear in the urine observed by shaking urine. So we can find out this whether it is conjugated type is more or not. If you shake the urine, you get the foam and this turns intense yellow, then we can say that it is conjugated bilirubin, which is disease of obstructive jaundice. So spleen is site for extravascular hemolysis. It's a normal site for extravascular hemolysis. So here the bilirubin is formed here and it is transported as unconjugated into plasma to the liver, and then liver is conjugated to form the soluble bilirubin and it is excreted into the bile. So if there is higher intravascular hemolysis as in hemolytic anemia, then the free hemoglobin is present in the plasma and it binds to the haptoglobin for transport to liver, and its rest circulate as free hemoglobin and is filtrated by kidney out of uh, out of body as a dimer and into urine and participate in the renal tubules. So otherwise the methemoglobin is formed. So we have seen this cycle, right? That about this now we are explaining. Otherwise the methemoglobin is formed and it breaks to free hemoglobin again, free heme again, which bound to the plasma proteins, and this is called as hemopexin. So you can see here this is a hemopexin, about this we are talking. So the hemopexin or by albumin yield it may form the methylalbumin. So it's transported to the liver. There also similar events take place and leading to the formation of finally bilirubin. That of which type of bilirubin in the liver? So conjugated bilirubin. So there are two cases for the jaundice, mainly increase in hemolysis, increase in unconjugated bilirubin in the case of hemocases appear in plasma, or this is also called as prehepatic jaundice because it is not taking place in liver. This is before the liver, in spleen or any other area. So it's prehepatic jaundice. And hepatic dysfunction or blockage of intrahepatic biliary canal, of course it is hepatic jaundice because here higher amount of conjugated conjugated bilirubin is present. So the conjugated is high in plasma due to regurgitation also, yeah, and blockage of bile duct. Blockage of bile duct is a post-hepatic jaundice because bile duct is associated with liver after that, so it is post-hepatic. So this is very important. What is pre-hepatic jaundice? There we have the unconjugated bilirubin in plasma, and in post-hepatic jaundice we have blockage of bile duct, and in hepatic jaundice we have higher amount of conjugated bilirubin in plasma due to regurgitation and due to hepatic dysfunction or blockage of intrahepatic biliary canaliculi. So if you understand these concepts and this story, it's like a story of bilirubin. So this is really a very nice and easy chapter. So that's it for today. So if you like our videos, don't forget to like, share and subscribe.